Okay, so he said commercials, so I'll say cornstarch. You can't roll fondant without it, which is what I'm going to do now. So what's your next question?
My next question is, where do you get your recipes from? How do you put your own personal twist on recipes?
Okay, well, since I am a home baker and I do most of my baking in smaller quantities than like a storefront bakery does, a lot of my recipes for cake actually start with a box mix and then I alter the ingredients some. Like, I really only buy 3 kinds of cake mix. I buy yellow, and I buy dark chocolate, and I buy white. And I can make everything from spice, almond, lemon, orange, all kinds of things, just out of those couple of flavors, red velvet. And I just sort of jockey around what I put in it. I don't ever follow what's on the box. And then as far as my fillings and frostings go, they're pretty much all original. I have one recipe that a friend gave me she wanted in her wedding cake, and I've used that one. It's a white chocolate buttercream, but I've altered it to make my regular chocolate buttercream. So all the other ones, like my lemon curd, that's my original. My buttercream that I use on everything is my original recipe. And I just mostly experiment. My mom is a real scratch cook, little of this, little of that kind of person. And she's the one who taught me pretty much how to be in the kitchen. I have memories of being a little girl and sitting on the counter with her, and I was probably about, I don't know, 12 or so, and so I had kind of gotten to my height and everything. I wasn't tiny anymore. And I remember her taking her measuring spoons out and putting like a tablespoon of flour in her measuring spoon and then putting it in my hand and saying, see what that looks like? That's a tablespoon in your hand. Now you don't need the spoon anymore. And then we did the same thing with all of the other spoons in the set so that I could see how much it looked like in my hand. So I've just always been really comfortable in the kitchen, and a lot of that is due to her.
Okay, what are you doing right now?
I'm rolling fondant. I'm rolling black fondant. I'm going to put it on this bottom layer of the Omnitrix, but I had to knead it because it just came out of the package and it's rather firm. So I'm kneading it and then I'm going to roll it, and this is one of my tricks for rolling, which I'm about to do. I know that that is a 10-inch tier, and I know that it's roughly 4 inches high because I used two 2-inch pans to make it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread my cornstarch out before I roll, and then I'm going to go ahead and take out my little measuring tape, my handy dandy measuring tape. And so here's my trick. If I do 4 plus 10 plus 4, I know I got 18, so I want at least a 20-inch circle of cornstarch, and then I can roll my fondant out on it, and I know that I have enough. So 20 should give me more than enough space. So I just mark it on both sides like that, and I'm pretty good at eyeballing it anyway. I could tell that was about 20 before I started. Once I stick in that little circle, then I'm good to go.
Great, great. Complete this sentence. If I were an ingredient, I would be a blank. And why?
I would be an egg.
Why would you be an egg?
Well, because eggs are one of those ingredients that are in a lot of things, and I'm in a lot of things. Seems like I never stop moving. Seems like I never stop doing things or getting involved. And also, eggs hold everything together, and I think that's what moms do. You know, they kind of keep the ship running. So I imagine that I would make a pretty good egg. That and that, I crack myself up. Ha ha ha. Bad joke, right?
What is your all-time favorite ingredient and why?
That's a really hard question, because if you're talking about just regular cooking, like dinner, I might say garlic, or I might say, you know, something simple like salt. God, things would be terrible if there was no salt in the world. But if you're talking about cakes and baking and desserts in general, I probably would say butter, because everything is better with butter. I mean, it's butter, right? It's in everything. My buttercream frosting, actually, one batch of it has 3 sticks of butter in it, and this was a double batch of my chocolate buttercream, and it has 4 sticks of butter in it. So it's not for the faint of heart, but it's very good.
If I were an ingredient, I would be what?
You just asked me that.
Sorry.
Good night.
What's your all-time favorite ingredient and why?
You just asked me that.
Okay. What are your top 3 original baking ingredient decorating tips that demonstrate your baking cooking knowledge?
Okay, well, I do have a completely original cake recipe that's fairly unique. I have what I call Harvest Spice Top 6 Free Cake with vanilla frosting. And I created it for a very specific reason. Our oldest son, Cole, has what's called an eosinophilic disorder, and they call them EGIDs, eosinophilic gastrointestinal disorder. And most kids that have an EGID have terrible, terrible food allergies. I mean, terrible. I personally know kids who can eat no food at all, some that can only eat one kind of food, but most of them have multiple allergies. Cole actually does not. He's one of a small percentage of kids that doesn't have allergies. But anyway, because so many of them have allergies, they don't often get to have birthday cakes. So I created a cake that is free of the top 6 allergens. It has no eggs, wheats, nuts, soy, dairy, fish. It's got apples in it, bananas in it, lots of spices. It's got rice and potato flour because I started with a box again, which was the Betty Crocker gluten-free. And then the frosting is kind of like a royal. And it's actually really good cake. And along with this birthday party cake that I'm doing for Cole right now, he has 3 EOS buddies, EE buddies, that are coming to his party. So I'm going to make a batch of cupcakes for them. Let me think. Another original. Well, I'd say I'm pretty organized, so I would say some of my organizational skills are fairly original. I don't know how many people use rubber placemats to move their cakes, but I do. And all the baby wipes containers. I don't know if a storefront baker would think of that, but I certainly do because I work at home. And then I would have to say something else that makes me original is the fact that I can do the lights and motorized cakes and things like that, which you don't see in Cumming, Georgia very often at all. And if you did see them, they would be at like a boutique bakery and they'd be crazy expensive, far more than I would charge. But I couldn't do that without the man behind the camera because he's my electrical engineer, so he helps me out when we get lights and stuff going.
You can't tell, but I'm blushing.
Ah ha ha ha.
So, are you competitive in nature? If so, give me some examples.
I am really not that competitive. I compete with myself. I'm very picky about things. I'm very picky about how my cakes come out. I'm very picky about how my house looks. I'm very picky about keeping my housekeeping schedule and the laundry done and that kind of stuff. So I would say that my toughest competition is me. I never played sports as a kid because I'm just not into it. I did compete in choirs in high school and we won, so we were good.
Well, there you go. There you go. You know what? I think I'm feeling another commercial coming on.
Okay. All right, we can do another commercial.
All right. We'll be back in a few.